Hello everyone, and welcome to a game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Valkyrie, and he's in the Kremlin at Tier 10 Russian battleship. And this replay is slightly different than usual, in the sense that this is, I think, over a year old. So I didn't have the client to record this replay, but C-Files organized to get the video file to me. So here it is. This also means that it might look slightly different because it's recorded on a different PC with different settings, and there seem to be some mods installed. Or at least the one mod that shows you how much time is left until you reach 1000 points if you have a points income. But be that as it may, the friendly team just lost the Shimakaze, so that's not so nice, because it's the only destroyer they had. And it looks like the Shimakaze was taken out by a carrier. Meanwhile, the enemy Harugumo is flipping the A-cap, and, well, the friendly carrier doesn't seem to be interested in that. Also, the friendly booster over there is not close enough to radar, I would say. The friendly team still has a reasonable force at the A side, but they make no move in order to try to defend or take this cap. Meanwhile, the enemy is also sailing into B, and they even have a ship inside C. Now, a friendly Des Moines is more or less in a nose-in duel against the Kremlin. I mean, the Des Moines has a reasonable distance, so the Kremlin might not get such good hits, but generally speaking, my money is on the Kremlin in this one. Meanwhile, Valkyrie here has a nice salvo at the Yamato, and there is a lovely citadel, cause that Yamato is showing pretty much broadside. Yamato hour is notoriously weak. Now the thing is that in order to do something about the C-cap, they have to get rid of this Kremlin, and in order to get rid of this Kremlin, they'd have to push forward enough that the friendlies have basically shots inside C, right? But that means they'd have to push the two Yamatos, the Cleveland and the Rooster. I mean, would work. 3 friendly battleships and a Buffalo here. So it might actually be a reasonable idea, especially since those cruisers are rather low. Honestly, I think at this point Valkyrie should be pushing here, because this battle isn't looking that good. I mean, the friendlies are 2 ships behind, it's not the end of the world, but they are also they don't have caps, right? And I assume this Des Moines is going to lose the long-range duel over time. I don't think the left flank will do anything about A. So if they spend too much time here at the C cap, then this is going to be very, very tough to come back. Now, of course, if you go forward here, you sail into potential crossfire. But it's not like the Kremlin... I mean, the Kremlin in the C cap is somewhat occupied. As I said, the 2 cruisers are rather low. And I mean, I feel like he could still stay angled against the Yamatos and probably not run into too much trouble from the Kremlin. And yet the Rooster is gone, the Cleveland is almost gone. Like, this is one of the situations where when you are sitting here behind this island, it doesn't look like there is any need. It's because basically Valkyrie here was in a good position, right? And he could do some work against those Yamatos. It's already 100,000 points of damage. And pushing forward obviously would have increased the risk. But when you look at the map as a whole and the entire situation, it looks a lot more problematic. And I feel like a sooner push would have been more than justified. Now the Des Moines is still bravely holding on. He's now also under carrier attack, and he's still basically nose-in dueling with this Kremlin. I suppose the Kremlin is getting rather low. We have the Buffalo pushing in. I hope the Buffalo is careful, because he... yeah, with 2 Yamatos and the Kremlin around, that might be rather problematic. And Kremlin has very fast turret traverse. Now that Kremlin is now in the channel and pushing north, it looks like. The friendly Republic he might be turning around. I mean, if the Republic turned around here and went north in order to ensure that if this Kremlin pushes north, he can intercept it, I wouldn't mind. Meanwhile, we have one Yamato who is still more working the zone wall, who is pretty low, and the other Yamato is in retreat. Personally, I would have already turned towards the C cap. It's like you go to like the Yamato in this. Well, it's now 1 Yamato has been dealt with, right? The one Yamato the zone wall would have been an issue, but I don't think he would have switched his fire to Valkyrie. So basically, at the point like this, you need to ensure that C-Cap gets taken, that Kremlin gets taken out, and then you need to move forward towards B. That Yamato in the south, I mean, it's a tempting target, but he's in retreat, and it's a waste of time chasing that Yamato, basically. And time is something that the friendly team really does not have. Now, some planes are around. But, you know. Looks like they're going for the Republic. And well, there is that Kremlin. Now the friendlies have lost another cruiser here. Kremlin is on very low health. It shouldn't be an issue. And like the way the Republic is going, that Kremlin might be caught in a crossfire between well, Valkyrie and the Republic. Not that it matters at this point, it looks like he's just burning quite nicely anyway. So the friendlies can now take the C-Cap and move towards B. Basically Valkyrie has two options here. He can go on the north side of C or the south side of C. On the south side he might be able to engage the Yamato and the Yoshino. But does he really want to, right? I mean, he can't flip the cap if he's detected and under fire. So he could go north, flip the cap and then push towards B and ignore the more zone-wally enemy battleships, or he could stay on the south and provide some more support for the Montana, but it might not be able to cap that way. Now the Montana seems to be already coming back. The Republic is also going more towards the B side. I mean, there's those 3 friendly battleships, that's still quite a bit of firepower there. And it's a shame if that Yamato escapes, but at this point it's really not worth chasing her. Could try to still set up, but I mean it's almost outside of Valkyrie's range anyway. And now that would be a target for the carrier, for example, right? If you have a low health battleship that just barely escapes, and then maybe makes it into cover or concealment or something, that's where a carrier can be very well able to hunt it down. Speaking of low health battleships, there's the Republic, and I think the friendly carrier might just be going for that, which would also be rather helpful. There is also still the Harugumo, and considering that there is only 1 destroyer, and it's a very big one, it's... I feel like the carrier might have been able to do more against this. If there is just 1 destroyer taking care of that, is so valuable at times. I mean, the Harugumo didn't do that much camp-wise, he just got A, but he probably also provided some spotting, and Harugumo guns can be rather problematic if he just is allowed to smoke up and farm things. Now the C-Cap has been taken, and there are a Wooster and Kremlin to deal with inside. So Valkyrie is slowly approaching there. The friendly Montana is... I mean, I understand that he will retreat from the Yoshino maybe, but shouldn't he be like at least going more towards the C-Cap? Like, there isn't much point in him continuing towards the zone wall. He won't find any cover there. He won't find any additional anti-air there. And he's just sailing further away from the engagement, which isn't necessarily what you want. So, broadside Yoshino, shells are on the way. If he can get a devastating strike here, that might be interesting, but he probably needs to focus what's in front of him right now. Oh, there is a citadel, but the Yoshino is still around. But that gave the Montana a pretty big advantage, I suppose. I mean, because I assume the Montana is engaging the Yoshino. At this point, honestly, the Montana should... I mean, I don't know how much health the Montana has, but the Yoshino is so low, it seems like the Montana could turn around. If you get closer, you obviously have an easier time hitting said Yoshino. Meanwhile, there is the Wooster. The Wooster is raiding, but the Wooster is spotted, and he is broadside, and there is a citadel. Now Valkyrie is trying to use a little bit of this island to be safe from the Kremlin. He wants to engage those ships 1 at a time. Of course, you need somebody to provide the spotting for the Wooster. When the carrier is coming, so Now he's relying on the carrier to provide him that spotting, otherwise he's just getting boosted. And there we go, there is the carrier spotting. Boosters still broadside-ish, shells are out, and boosters down. So that's nice. Now, of course, he is slightly beached here, but should be able to maneuver out of here rather quickly. And now he has to deal with the Kremlin. The enemy Kremlin is on very low health. The only real threat that the enemy Kremlin poses is a ram, I guess. And the Yoshino is still around. So that Montana doesn't... Looks like the Montana has a hard time dealing with a 10k Yoshino. Which also brings you to the point, if the Montana would turn around and sail towards said Yoshino, it would have a much easier time getting hits. Anyway, the enemy Kremlin appears. Unfortunately, it's angled, and yeah, I think that guy's going for a ram. Now the carrier is here to help, and Valkyrie is loading a high explosive. Also, we have a friendly Yamato in the north, which is coming in here to help, and yeah, the next salvo should easily take out that Kremlin and avoid the ram. Also, by the way, enemy carrier is pretty close to B. So that's nice. I mean, ideally, Valkyrie can farm the carrier. The enemy Argumo is still around. Now, the carrier is probably focusing on the destroyer by now, because I guess the carrier's life has been threatened here for a while. We have a Sao engaging a rune in the north too. And Yoshino is still around. So is the one enemy Yamato that was on low health, but has probably recovered a little bit in the time since she was last spotted. Now flipping the B camp would also be very nice, but I don't think the friendlies have a chance to catch up in points. I mean, getting the B camp would delay the inevitable, but it's not going to happen with a carrier right around the corner who will just spam planes at the Kremlin. I mean, there is an easy solution, right? Sink the carrier. Valkyrie has 40k hit points left, and in about half a minute he will have a heal. Yoshino is still around. So, I mean, there's no way the carrier would sink him before he can get around this corner, right? Oh, the Yamato is spotted. I mean, Kremlin is rather fast torturers. It feels like he could have... Valkyrie could be trying... Yeah, there's the Yamato. Why don't you shoot the Yamato? I mean, the Yamato is somewhat broadside-ish. And it's not like he can shoot the Audacious right now. No, the Yamato is no longer spotted. I feel like that's a missed opportunity. I mean, I'm not sure if he could have gotten a good salvo out of the Yamato. Considering the Kremlin's third traverse, I think there was a really decent chance, and it was worth a try. I mean, until he can shoot the Audacious, it still takes some time. And, you know, you never know, a lucky salvo and might have taken care of a Yamato. But hey! They managed to get rid of the Yoshino. Now though, Rugumo is still around. But what we've all been waiting for has finally arrived. There is a carrier 5 kilometers away from a battleship. And that makes a battleship runner happy, right? There is a Confederate, that's a pretty nice salvo. And one more salvo like this, and there will be no more Audacious. Unfortunately, there are only about 2 minutes left in this battle, which means that's not an awful lot of time to sink all of those ships. Carrier going for the Harugumo. Get that taken care of finally. And not sure what Valkyrie is waiting here for. I mean, I'm not familiar with the Audacious armor, but honestly, I don't see how a Kremlin could not just overmatch the nose. Not sure why he aimed so high. I mean, maybe there is a weird belt in carrier. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if carriers had impenetrable noses at this point, but, you know, I would have expected that he can just overmatch the nose, so... But he took care of the... he took care of the carrier, but... was broadside to him out. He was very lucky to get away with this. Now... Valkyrie is obviously angling already. He will be able to fire his rear turret here. Hopefully he gets some good RNG roll with a lovely citadel or two. Dispersion doesn't look so great, but there is the citadel. Now the Yamato is still around though. Now the front turrets are still to army. Oh, the Yamato is healing. I was just saying that the rear turret should be enough to sink this Yamato. Maybe we'll need the front turrets too. We will see. And the Yamato got another salvo off. Will Valkyrie live? Yes, he will. And the enemy Yamato won't. So this means this is now a 4 versus 1. And it doesn't matter, because there is like only 30 seconds left and the Rhone is way too healthy. The friendly Montana sailed into a position where he can't even engage the Rhone anymore. So the only one who might do something about this is the Sao and, well, the carrier. Now Valkyrie is technically in a good position. Once he goes around this island, he should have broadside shots at the Rhone, but there is 10 seconds left. And when we consider shell grabber time, I did you choose high explosive? It doesn't matter. And that brings us to the results. Valkyrie earned himself 2,468 base experience. And that's a defeat, mind you. So basically he earned himself 400 more base experience in a defeat than the best in the winning team. Oh my. We also achieved a Confederate at Dreadnought and a high caliber, scoring 287,000 points of damage, sinking 4 enemies, and it just enough. So I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you guys next time.